Welcome to the After the Show Movie Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, A. Scully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome to the final show of the year, Cidtalk. This is it, the last one.
This is it for 2024. This is not the before the after the show discussion. Kind of, sort of, it was.
It was, but it wasn't.
Me confirming how many bottom movies I'm supposed to pick.
Yes.
Worst of 2024.
Yeah, because we will, later in the show, have our top 10 of the year, which is a tradition around here.
The definitive top 10. You can, don't listen to anyone else.
Nope. Never. Only listen to us. We are the best. Anyway, let's get on with this, because we got a lot to say today.
Aye.
It is Saturday, December the 28th. This is After the Show, number 871. We're a weekly movie review podcast. Every week we look at a new movie. This week is no exception. And we're looking at the movie Joker, Folie, Deux. Is that correct? Am I a good French speaker?
I don't know. I think Folie à deux.
Folie
and
à
I don't
deux.
Speak French, so I don't know.
Do I need to put on a shitty French accent when I say it?
Let's not. And say what we did.
It's released on streaming, 4K and Blu-ray. You can get it right now. It's rated R from our friends at Warner Brothers, who sent us a copy for review. Its runtime is 2 hours and 18 minutes. Cidtalk, can you give us the synopsis of this movie? Joker, Folie à Deux.
The summary is, I'm going to say it is the origin story of Harley Quinn. Ba-boom. See, I dropped that. I'm dropping the mic. We're done. That's it. Goodbye. Have a nice new year.
I'll tell you what it really is. Struggling with his dual identity, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital.
True. I mean, that's very factual.
That's the official.
That is official.
That's the official.
Got it.
All right. Cidtalk. We've seen the original Joker movie. Both loved it, I believe. I did listen back.
Mm-hmm.
We both really liked it.
Reasonable assessment.
So, a sequel to that movie. How did you feel about it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything except, I'm going to say it up front, and I'm going to try not to mention it 500 times because I don't want to be super boring.
Yes.
I fucking hated the smoking in this movie. It was boring to look at. It's a lazy crutch to lean on. I get it. People smoke in the world. I get it. But it was absolutely like, and you know what I'm going to compare it to, the camera flare, the light flares in my Star Trek movie, which also kind of I will never watch that movie again either. Because of that, it's a mindless, indulgent blah for a filmmaker. And so that's
right.
it.
From this point on, you are banned from talking about smoking.
That's fair, because I got it off my chest.
All right.
So we're good.
Well, you don't want it on your chest, smoking, do you?
I absolutely don't know.
A sequel, a musical. I would say a musical of sorts. It's not a full-on musical.
Absolutely not. We've heard a lot about it. You've read a lot. I don't read the newsy things, but you've told me about what people say, and I was really expecting a full-on La La Land kind of thing, or Chicago or whatever, and it was not that at all. It was the right amount.
There is singing.
We're going to be controversial. Let's just put this out there because we both enjoyed this movie.
Well, let's get this up front. If you've been living under a rock, this movie didn't go down too well with critics, audiences, the whole thing. It just didn't. Something about it didn't gel, and people didn't like it. It was an overall, I didn't like it. We haven't seen it until today. Well, at least me. I've heard a lot of hate for it. I really hate this movie. I don't want to see this movie. And
yeah.
So I went into it going, well, I need to see it for myself to see if I hate it or not. Or maybe I really like it, or maybe it's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of in the middle. I don't hate it. I like the first one a lot.
I don't hate it.
No. And I really, really like the first one. I think it's a really interesting, cool movie. The style of that one, I really like. This one kind of continues that style, but there's something a little bit weaker in this one for me. And it's nothing to do with I don't like them singing.
Right on.
It's just, I liked the story of him in the first one. But there again, I really admire in this one the swings it takes, because it really goes for it. It doesn't give a fuck about you as the audience, I don't think.
I think that's one of the things I admire about
I think maybe, is that what he was doing? Was he like, fuck you all? Like all the people who kind of thought Joker was a hero and like, even as those people in this movie, doesn't he?
I mean, that is also like rude and unnecessary, but I understand.
It feels a bit like that.
Yeah.
That's a way to turn an audience against you, I guess.
You reckon?
Yeah. You know that character that you love? Well, fuck you for loving him, right?
Yeah, this character I've created of sorts.
Yeah.
I've developed this whole world that exists, and now I'm going to tear it down, and you have nothing to say about it. Now, I am an art person, so I think the artist is the final say on what a thing is. If you don't like it, once you've consumed it, move on with your life. I don't think you should sit and, I mean, we're doing a review about it, but let it go, right? There are other Joker movies. There will be other Joker movies. Just let it go.
It's just another portrayal of Joker.
But I also find that artists who decide to be like, F everybody, because I'm intellectually superior, and look, I have a vision, and I don't want to be a slave to what you demand of me, right? And then they sort of turn that into...
There's certainly some of that going on.
Yes, that I find just... I don't care what your business is, if you're selling cars or food or art, that's just a dick move, man. So I'm not into that.
But
and
also,
I get that vibe.
When you say that's a dick move, also, I'm on the side of, it's your movie, not mine. You're the director. You have a vision. It's yours. If you want to poke fun at things and tell people
that's not the point. It is actually making the effort to insult the people who put you where you are. Yeah, well, right. So if I'm an artist and everyone loved my paintings and I did specific paintings and I got sick of everyone commenting on my paintings, and then I did some that are just like obnoxiously in your face,
like Andy Warhol,
to spite them. No, not at all. Oh, no.
He did the fuck you.
That wasn't for the people who appreciate his art. That was for other people. But that's a whole other topic. But then I can't be mad at people for being, whoa. I just think you're insulting the people who put you where you are. And that is, I don't care what your business.
I don't even care about that.
I know you don't, but I'm saying it's just a dick move. It's like, how about if you make something that not in spite, not out of spite or to make a point. Also,
the Joker's not precious to me, and like I know there'll be another version of him along the line, and I might like that one better than this one, or this one better than that one. I know this is just another story of the Joker. It doesn't affect anything. This is also kind of separate. It's not Heath Ledger's Joker. It's another guy. It's not. Well, spoilers. Can we say some spoilers?
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's say some spoilers, because if we don't, the main thing of the movie we can't really discuss. So, this guy, Joaquin Phoenix, Arthur Fleck, who you know as the Joker in the first movie, in this movie, turns out not to be the Joker. He's just Arthur.
Correct.
Now
that's the whole story.
Yeah, now that's where I'm saying they're taking a swing there. It's like, you know that guy? Yeah, he's not that guy.
See, I don't think that's, you mean a swing in terms of like...
it's kind of a brave move.
Bold,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's not what you would think is going to happen in this movie. Because when it does happen, I was like, oh. And then the moment when he says it in the courtroom, we didn't mention also, this movie is mostly a courtroom drama. It does have musical numbers. It does have prison scenes. But I'd say the middle of the movie takes place in a courtroom.
Yeah.
And it's not like things blowing up. Well, maybe it is a little bit, but it's not that kind of movie. It's a drama. And it's about the psyche, people, how people are. And when he reveals himself not to be I'm just Arthur. I'm a murderer. I'm kind of a scumbag.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't say that.
But that's kind of what he's saying. Like, this is what I am. I'm just that. And Harley Quinn, who played by Lady Gaga in this movie, has formed this attachment with him. And when he says that... As the Joker.
She wants the persona.
And when he says, I'm just Arthur, and you see her in the courtroom just, I'm very disappointed, and then she leaves, she doesn't even want him.
Totally.
Right. Like, she was interested in the idea of this guy who can build a mountain, as she said, with her out of a hill.
Yeah, but...
But he really can't. He's just a mentally ill guy.
Correct.
who also happens to be a psychopath. So how can you root for that guy anyway, as a person? Like the people who, when what happens to him at the end, people are probably mad at that.
Sure.
Because you kill, you.
Oh, you just said it.
Well, I did say spoilers. So
True.
they kill him at the end. But he isn't the Joker anyway, so they didn't kill the Joker.
But it's hard to, you say that, but it's very hard to explain what you mean. What all we're saying is this is actually a story about this dude.
Who's not the Joker.
Who, no matter what was done to him or what was put upon him, could not manipulate him enough to actually be the Joker, like the psychotic bad guy that we all know as the Joker. He's just Arthur. You strip away everything else of this movie, and that's it. It's just a guy with some mental health issues who's done bad things, and we're done. And that's it.
And got swept up in a thing that he couldn't actually live up to.
Correct. He created the idea of the Joker. Yep.
And at the end, when you see him stabbed on the floor, dead, I can see audiences going, you can't do that to my Joker. But then he isn't the Joker at that point. He's not the Joker. And stood right behind him, the guy who stabbed him, is probably the Joker. Or
I'm thinking,
the next, maybe we'll never see him. Well, maybe we'll never see his movie about him being the Joker. That's how it goes in this movie. It's like anybody could be this guy.
Exactly.
People just need a figurehead or a weird thing to like live, worship. Because that's how it goes.
Oh, it's definitely the cult of Joker, yeah.
Yeah. And I compared it, I said to you, it reminded me of Natural Born Killers, how you've got these two serial killers sweeping across the US, killing people all over the place. And then the audience on TV are going, yeah, go Mickey and Mallory. You're awesome.
Yep.
They're actually murdering people. How can you be behind that? But people do get behind things, don't they?
Yes.
People were behind the Manson guy,
Still.
Yeah. So that's what this movie's about. And if you hate that and you feel like he was wasting your time with it because you didn't really get a Joker movie like you wanted, well, I guess that's tough taste.
Oh my God. I've made up a new expression. I might not have invented it. I might have heard it somewhere. So if you've heard it somewhere else or seen it on a meme or in a book, I apologize for trying to commandeer it. But expectations are the killer of joy. If your expectation of anything in life is on notch number 8.
Yeah.
And then your perception of it when it occurs or happens, or
it'll never be it.
If it's a 2, you invented the 8. Yeah. The thing didn't invent the 8. You did. And so if your perception is it, because someone else thinks it's a 10, by the way. So your perception of it doesn't mean it is what it is. It's just I'm a bad reviewer because I think everyone's entitled to think things are shitty or good or whatever. It doesn't make it good or shitty, right? It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Although we are going to go through the 4 worst movies of the year later.
And what we just explained about this movie is what it is. And if you don't like musical numbers, the fact that your hero might not be the hero that you wanted.
It's a tough one for you.
Yeah, it might be a tough one for you because the final shot of the whole movie is your hero, if you so be it, is the winds come out of him and he's dead. And then cut to black.
If you are the person who injects your fantasy, like movies, books, games, whatnot, into your life, and you get a little bit of that, like, oh, this guy represents me a little bit, even though he's a psychotic killer. I get that. But some people do that, right? They transfer the power of a character into their life if they feel like they're lacking. And now this guy is nothing. That could feel like a personal deflation. But again, it's all down to the individual. It
is. So I found it a very interesting movie. If I had to say things I don't like, because I've been fairly positive, Joaquin Phoenix is not a natural singer. And some of his singing is amount to mumbling for me.
I thought that was fine because of course he's not going to be a singer.
I know that he's not fully in it. And he's,
I'm good with that.
But then sometimes I was like, I want to hear exactly what he's saying, but he's really like,
No,
you know?
I agree. I think that was appropriate. If he'd been a good singer, I would have been put off by that.
Well, yeah, I did read an interview with Lady Gaga just a few minutes ago that said the hardest thing for her on this movie was to sing as though she didn't really know how to sing.
I read that too.
Yeah, because she had to kind of not be so perfect because she's just a woman in this. She's not a professional singer. In fact, well, they incorporate a singing class into this, don't they? There's a singing class in the
yeah, but we're not seeing her singing or anything.
No. So let's get on to the cast. Have you anything else to say about the movie?
No.
I did. You like the look of it and all that?
I thought the look was fine. It was a little over grunge, like lighten up on the foot pedal of like, I've got to make it as grungy and stinky looking as I possibly can. So you know how much Arthur is suffering. Well, I mean, I get it, but visually it gets a bit bland and the lighting is fine. But again, there's not a lot of interesting actual approach. Because when you're talking about people's fantasies in their mind,
it can be anything.
The music is one thing. So you hear they're singing and whatnot. And then they've got the TV sets because they're imagining different TV shows they're on or whatever. But to add a bit of, fear and loathing in Las Vegas, just like a touch of something a little more manic.
Yeah.
Would have kind of, I think of it as the salt and pepper of a movie, spice it up a little, just ever so slightly. So your brain has not just got this wash of 2 hours of gray blue.
I did like the opening Looney Tune cartoon starring the Joker.
Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, that was like a contrast to the whole thing. And cool, because it fit in with the Warner Brothers thing and all that.
I think it was supposed to be, I'm going to say lame because it doesn't achieve this goal. It was supposed to be some sort of lame attempt at catching you up.
Yeah, it totally was.
It shows him on a set-ish, and then he gets taken to jail, and then we're in jail. So I wasn't sure. I get it. It
was like an animated recap of the first movie.
But it wasn't at all. So don't think it is.
But also kind of artsy in a way.
But there's no recap. This is my point. It's like a lame attempt.
Yeah,
even though we understood.
Yeah.
It didn't really fill the bill.
Yeah. We haven't seen Joker since we saw it the first time. So we went and looked at the plot on Wikipedia. And, you think you've seen a film and you know what it's all about. And then you start reading the plot and you go, oh, forget that part. I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah.
So, it's always a good idea if you're watching a sequel.
Recap.
To recap, yeah. Cast, Joaquin Phoenix plays Arthur Fleck again. I think he does the same thing he did in the first one, which is excellent.
It is excellent and also a bit, there's...
Pretentious?
I don't think it's pretentious. It is... I understand what we're going for. Right? A tortured man who struggles with his own identity and his own everything. He's really nothing when you think about Arthur, sadly, the character. I mean, he just wanted, his mother lied to him. His mother had issues. People have abused him. And yet it's sort of erased everything about him. And yet the performance is constantly overtly tortured. And I mean, maybe that's right. I don't know. But also...
It's theatrical because he does a lot of like bodily movements,
Yeah, and I guess the good thing is when he busts out of the tormented thing and he lets free and he's doing his body loosens up and he does the smile. That is some variety there. So I give him credit for creating a person who I believe exists inside of him.
Yeah. You mean he's not really playing much? He's just playing...
No, I do think he is, but he's created a person who, the torment of Arthur, it's relentless. And I guess that's the idea. This is what drives a person to potentially become a villain. And yet Arthur must just be a reasonably good human, even though he's murdered people. I get that. But he's not going to claim the mantle of Joker, right? So there's something about him, but he's just more
There's something about
sad.
Him that's not quite it. He can't, the final hurdle to become the Joker, he can't do that.
He can't lie to everybody, which I think is fair, but that gritty,
yeah,
it's a lot.
Lady Gaga plays Lee Quinzel, who we all know who Lee Quinzel is. And you're right, it is an origin story of Harley Quinn.
Because she's just a lady in a mental institution, and then she finds the Joker, and it sort of spurs her to let loose of her own
And not even a lady who has been put in a mental institution. She put herself there.
Correct. Well, she did so she could meet him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she thought he was something, and then
turns out he's not. But I think she did really well, and there's a lot of her. If you like her singing, she sings a lot of, the songs in this movie are like old standards, those type. You know? I can't think of one offhand. I was thinking
that's entertainment.
That's life. Yeah, and
that's entertainment.
Yeah, those kind of songs.
Yeah.
And there's a whole album.
When the saints
go marching in.
That comes in there a lot.
So if you like all the old standards, you can get an album with her singing them. It's called Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, Harley Quinn sing. Yeah.
I liked her in House of Gucci. I thought she was the best thing about that movie. I didn't think that was a good movie. I thought she was really good though. And I liked her here too. There was a lot of like just her in these scenes, but it was more focused on Arthur, and she was in the background in this one.
Yeah, but her impact is very big.
Yeah.
That's what tells you about a performance, is that even when she's not there, she's lingering. You're aware of the impact that she's had on him.
Catherine Keener plays Marianne Stewart. She's his attorney.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, she's good. She made me feel like
I like her.
This attorney really does care about Arthur, but she's trying to lead him to say that he has a split personality, and
she wants to do the best for him.
She does, but I mean, nothing bad ever happens to her, but she tries really hard.
He's not having it, is he really? He's just gonna be himself, do his own thing.
Of all the people we've seen interact with Arthur, she's one of the kindest people to him.
She is.
Regardless of everything. She never snarks behind his back.
He can't accept it. He can't accept kindness, though, it doesn't seem.
Well, yeah, probably.
We got Steve Coogan as Paddy Mayers. He's not in it much, but he does this like, it's again, it reminded me of Natural Born Killers, where they interview Mickey in the prison cell and it's Robert Downey Jr. This one is that kind of interview for the TV with the Joker. What did you think of Steve Coogan?
He was fine. I mean, the character's a complete ass, but he did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, oh, God, can you be make him more of a cartoon? But I guess that's the idea.
Yeah, I can't buy him with an American accent. It really...
Oh, no, he's fine. I was actually impressed.
Oh,
and I'm American, so I'm good.
Right.
We're good. He's good.
Brendan Gleeson plays Jackie Sullivan. He's like the head guard at the Arkham
and he's
place.
A jerk.
Yeah, he is. I like that actor. He's very good.
Yeah.
And they are jerks, those guys.
Everyone's terrible to Arthur except that lawyer lady. And you would say even Harley Quinn is terrible because she doesn't even want Arthur for who he is.
Yeah. Arthur is a murderer of people.
Absolutely.
When the guy who takes his mantle, I guess, at the end, he says, is what you deserve. Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve being stabbed in the hallway. Like, go through the whole process of going, I mean, I guess it's not different than the...
Directed by Todd Phillips. He's the director of The Joker and the Hangover trilogy. Very different movies.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Todd here?
You won't allow me to talk about the thing that annoys me the most.
Smoking.
Yeah, and that's not because it's just smoking, which I despise, but also because it's absolutely... with a movie is a collaboration. I get that. I like to do drawings and paintings and stuff. That's a singular art. A movie is a collaboration. And I could feel, you read this to me later, but I could feel that this guy insisted on very specific things throughout someone was smoking constantly.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoking.
It's distracting to me. It's lazy. It is as if he got a thing in his mind, and then probably somebody said to him, hey, man, like 7 scenes in a row had this exact same visual trick. Let's call it that if you don't want me to call it smoking. And then he probably dismissed it. Like, no, I'm doing this, just back off. When you look at the final cut, it is too much. And then you read to me that he got a very singular mind while making this movie, and that no one could get him to make any different decisions. He took over 100% creative, whatever. And that's also fine. But to me, it's very obvious. And that kind of, it weighs the movie down. It doesn't help. It doesn't serve the story. It doesn't improve performances. It doesn't make it look nicer. None of it. And so I feel like he needs to maybe consider You know, if you're going to make your own very specific movie, just do your own little
like
movie.
Francis Ford Coppola made Megapolis. It's literally his own thing. He made it himself.
And that's fine.
Right.
I don't mind. Yeah. And if you just want to do it, that's fine. But then I don't know, when you're commandeering someone else's intellectual property, I mean, obviously he had permission to make the Joker and whatnot, and then you decide, like someone wanted to make Luke Skywalker a guy who sits on a little thing and has gone a little bit wacky and actually dismissive about the whole Jedi thing.
Yes.
That's just another dick move. Like, make up your own story about different characters and then bring us that story, right? Don't think you're such hot shit that you can go, look what I'm going to do with the Joker. Wink, wink.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt when I was watching it. So I feel like he has quality. He got good performances out of people. I like that. I like the story that he's telling because it's like kind of like a twist, right?
It's totally a twist. Yeah.
I like that. So there's elements of good, and then there's elements of like, dude, we need to sit down and have a talk.
All right. IMDB reviews. What are those?
Those are reviews you find on the imdb.com that people give movies a 1 star and you find it funny. If you dislike the movie, you agree with them. But I think you're going to find these are going to be fascinating.
There's 528 1-star movies.
And sometimes you'll say there's like 7.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So,
okay.
Overall. First guy says, why turn Joker 2 into a musical? I'm so irritated. Joker was a gritty psychological thriller that explored complex themes. It was raw, dark. Why do we need gimmicks and unnecessary changes to make a new movie? It's a slap in the face to the fans.
Don't make a funny voice because I don't disagree with this person.
That's just how I hear him.
Oh, I see.
Second guy says, when you watch a movie that you don't understand the meaning of, a movie that after watching it basically think you're useless, this is sequel. I like that one.
I can tell. This is sequel. I like that. This is sequel.
That's it. And the third one says, the original Joker was a dark, gritty exploration of mental illness. It was a critical and commercial success, leaving audiences stunned and disturbed. However, the Joker, Folie, is a disappointing departure from the original. The decision to turn it into a musical is baffling, and it undermines the tone of the first film. That's it.
I catch what they're saying, but, you know.
That's all I got for the
tone of the voice was my favorite part. I'm pretty sure they don't sound like that.
So, extras. There are extras on the disc, but we watched the streaming version, so... All right, so let's give this movie a score. I'm going to give Joker, Folie à Deux, a 7 out of 10.
I think that's fair. I'll give it a 7.
I know I give the original a 9, and so did you. So 7 seems about right.
I think it is fair. It's above average in terms of like, whoa, that's an interesting story. But then there's the flaws, and that I had to take 3 points off for smoking. So
there are flaws. Even I can see flaws. I'm not like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. It's not what I expected. People were saying it was so bad. It's so bad.
It's not the tragedy we were led to believe.
It's not the tragedy, no.
But let's have full disclosure. We also didn't think Gigli was that bad.
Like I've said to you, if I sat down to watch Gigli this evening, for instance, maybe it is bad. But at the time, everybody was saying...
It doesn't get bad just because you haven't seen it for a while.
At the time, they were all like, oh, this is the worst film. This is the worst film. And we watched it, and it was like, oh, this is just an average film.
It's average. I don't think an average movie gets worse.
Oh, it's okay. It's not terrible. I also apply this to the movie Showgirls, which some people think is the worst movie they've ever seen. I've watched it numerous times, and it's just an average movie.
Let's back up a little bit. Why have you watched Showgirls multiple
It's always
times?
on streaming channels or back in the day.
I've never seen it.
I had the Blu-ray or the DVD back in the day.
Okay, there's your answer.
And I watched it multiple times.
I found it really boring. So
I didn't find it as controversial as people said, and I also didn't find it as bad as people said.
I think it's not great, obviously. Not great. I mean, that's very generic, but like it isn't good at all. It's just that it wasn't like shit on it kind of movie.
Right. Now it's like people say it's like so bad it's good.
Notorious.
One of those things. All right. Thank you to Warner Brothers. Next week, we are going to look at the new movie, Gladiator 2. Electric Boogaloo.
I knew. I've been married to you almost 25 years, and I could hear
it works. It works on any sequel. Put that in the end, and it makes
I just knew it.
All right, so we're going to look at that one next week. Elderly filmmaker Ridley Scott's new movie.
And that's not you saying that. Someone else called him elderly filmmaker.
I was watching a like Entertainment Tonight or something like that, where they do like a little thing, and the narrator said, "Elderly filmmaker Ridley Scott brings you his new masterpiece," and I was like, "That's so like shitty saying that." You know, I know he is older, but what has that got to do with the film maker? Nothing, right?
Oh no, it has a lot. He's been making movies a long time.
I'm saying though, when you say elderly filmmaker, it doesn't mean anything.
Well,
if he was 5 years old, it wouldn't mean anything either. I'm going to say toddler filmmaker.
No, that would be interesting. Oh, come on now. If someone said 5-year-old filmmaker, you would be like, what the hell? Yeah, I want to see this movie.
All right, movie recommendations. I've mentioned these two already during the review, so I'll get them quick. Natural Born Killers and House of Gucci, for both reasons. One, Natural Born Killers reminded me of some of this movie, and House of Gucci, Lady Gaga.
Right.
And elderly filmmaker Ridley Scott.
Just keep reinforcing it, you see, and people will keep saying it. So
yeah.
Mine for this one are just the last 5 from my long list, and I haven't given you all the movies I've ever seen, but they're from the 20th century, and we have Happiness, which is Will Smith. The Sixth Sense, we all know what that is. Seven, we all know what that is. The Shawshank Redemption, we all know what that is. And Leon the Professional, which not everyone might know what that is, but that's really good. I mean,
Luc Besson.
Definitively good.
Yeah.
And those are all movies that I hold in high regard.
All right. So let's get
busy
on.
living or get busy dying.
Correct. Let's get on to the top 10 movies of 2024. And we're going to count down from 10. We're going to give you each. I'll give you my 10. You give your 10. And then we'll do the terrible movies at the end.
Okay.
So my number 10 this year. Well, let me give you 4 movies before we start that almost made it to the top 10 but didn't.
Oh, you're breaking your own rules. I love it.
And those are Killers of the Flower Moon, The Royal Hotel, Poor Things, and Civil War.
Okay.
All 4 of those are excellent movies. I just couldn't squeeze them into the 10.
Okay.
Have you got any of those?
No, I was following the rules this year.
All right.
But I have some that are skirting. So my rule is anything that I scored over the year on my spreadsheet over 8 gets listed at the top.
Right.
And I had 13, but I had to rethink 3 of them. So I ended up with 10. So no,
I had to I spent like an hour carefully going through this list and rearranging it.
I did love Heretic. I did love it, but it had a little weakness. It had a little weakness there. And Love Lies Bleeding. Again, but not quite.
All right, let's get to the actual top 10.
Okay.
My number 10 is Maxine.
Oh my, okay.
What's yours?
My number 10 is Saltburn.
Ah.
Yeah, both weird. I love it.
Number 9, I went with Dune Part 2 because I love Dune. And Part 2 was everything I wanted of it.
Gotcha. My number 9 is very different from Dune, the 4:30 movie.
Oh,
by
really?
Kevin Smith. Oh, yeah. I loved that movie. I thought it was super sweet.
Yeah.
I was in the right mood. It was charming and lovely. And I think Kevin Smith did a fine job.
Well, he didn't even get a look in on my list.
Well, you're wrong.
Number 7, I went with Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Of course you did. If no one knows you very well, you can't escape Furiosa with this guy.
I mean, it was really, really good.
It was good.
Yes.
I don't know if it was top 10 worthy, but...
Your number 7?
My number 7 is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that one was super classy. I was really involved. I thought it was excellent.
Martin Scorsese.
Aye.
Yeah. We live in a time where we had a Martin Scorsese and a Francis Ford Coppola movie in one year.
And some people like me think they're the same person.
Yeah, they do. Yes, exactly. All right, so what are we up to? We're up to number 6?
Yes.
No, 7.
6. I just did my number 7.
All right.
Oh, I missed number 8.
Oh.
You misled me.
We've ruined this.
Okay. We had number 10, Saltburn. Number 9, 4:30 movie. My number 8 is Rebel Ridge.
Right. Mine was Furiosa.
Okay.
All right. So now we're on number 7.
Okay.
Mine, number 7 is Kinds of Kindness.
Okay. Well, my number 7 was Killers of the Flower Moon.
You remember Kinds of Kindness?
I do, because my number 6 is Kinds of Kindness.
All right.
Because that was really a weird, also very compelling. I loved it.
Number 5?
Correct. What was your number 6?
Kinds of Kindness.
No, that was your number 7.
Oh, my number 6 is... This is confusing. I'm confused.
There are numbers, right? I have a spreadsheet.
My number 6 is We Live in Time.
Okay,
which I found really awesome. I just really thought it was great performance. Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield really worked together.
I agree. What's your number 5?
And number 5 is Strange Darling.
Oh, okay.
Which is an incredible movie that is told out of order, and it just kept me guessing the entire time.
And my number 5 is Anora, because that was I really loved it. I was in the right frame of mind, and it just I get it. I loved it.
Number 4, I went with Saltburn, much higher up than you.
Okay, got it.
I loved its fucked up. It was very fucked up.
Yes. Very.
And you could never really guess where it was going.
No. And my number 4 is We Live in Time. So I liked the Sheffy movie just one little bit more than you did.
Right. All right, let's get into the top 3. My number 3 is Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate.
Immaculate. Oh, God.
The Nun movie.
Oh, wow. Okay. You popped it right up there.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. That's
saucy.
And it's very messed up.
It is. I need to question your...
You know, I like
the weirder
movies.
The better, right?
I like those kind of movies that come across like a 70s, you know, like devil movie. Like The Exorcist, stuff like that. But this one's, you know...
And my number 3, I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at the title and I don't remember what it is. How shitty is that? You're going to tell me. And I'll immediately know. But from the title, I don't. It's called Dream Scenario.
It's Nicolas Cage, the one where he has a dream. And
yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why
everybody starts dreaming about him.
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Again, kind of weird and kind of like unexpected.
A24.
Absolutely. I don't know why I didn't remember the title of it, but
all right.
That was my number 3.
My number 2 movie of the year is the excellent The Substance.
Oh, okay.
If you ever wanted a movie that feels like you've been punched in the face, that's the movie. It really feels like you were assaulted. It's so graphic.
I'm not sure if that's a great review or
I do like things like that. Like Irreversible, it feels like a movie that punched you in the face. Oh my goodness,
yes.
The Substance also feels like that.
I get you. My number 2 is Civil War. I was very taken with that. It was compelling and unsettling.
I like that, but it just didn't make it in because I had so many good ones. All right, and my number 1 movie of the entire year is Sean Baker's Anora.
Oh, number 1. Yes. Damn, okay.
It might be my number 1 movie of the last 2 years. I thought it was that good.
Oh, my.
It's excellent.
What was your number 1 last year? You need to decide real quick because you might not want to dethrone number 1 from
I can't remember what last year's was.
My number 1 is Poor Things.
Also a good movie?
Absolutely loved Poor Things.
Bella Baxter.
It got something. If you want to talk about fucked up and feeling punched in your brain, not in your face, but in your brain, that's one of them.
So you've got 2 Yorgos Lanthimos movies in your top 10 this year.
What's the other one?
Kinds of Kindness.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's excellent. And we did watch Killing of a Sacred Deer this year, which is an older movie of his.
Also.
And that was fucking brilliant too.
No wonder it would have been on my list.
Yeah.
Because I remember that one as well. That was really good. I like, it was Gyllenhaal, wasn't it?
No, it was the guy from Saltburn.
Oh, right. That's why we watched it.
Yes. No, we watched it because I was like, this Yorgos Lanthimos, I really, after watching Poor Things, why haven't we seen his movies? He's so good. And then we watched that one. We still need to see Dogtooth, which is another movie by him.
The weirder, the better.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it's possibly his weirdest one.
Bring it on.
All right, let's go for the worst movies of the year while we're here. And this is all, I've not explained, but this is just movies that we've seen. It's not like all the movies.
Correct.
Because we can't.
These are movies we've reviewed this year.
We can't comment on movies we didn't see. Yeah, we saw the Terrifier movies this year, but didn't review them. So
correct.
I guess
they're not folded in. Just like that one you just mentioned, we're not folding those in. So if you want to listen to every review from this year, you're going to have to go back and listen to all 51 of them, or however many there have been.
I don't think we had a break this year, did we?
I think we did maybe.
Maybe?
If people don't know, also this year my mother was ill, and so I left town a lot, and so I'd be surprised if we filled every week.
I feel like we did. We just
in November she passed away, and we did a movie that week because it just felt like I needed some sort of.
I feel like we kept doing them in advance.
We did, yes. We would do that on earlier. You're right.
All right, worst movies of the year for me. I've got 4 of them. And
me too.
All right, and they're probably exactly the same as yours. I'll just give you all 4.
Okay.
Night Swim, ISS, Tarot, and The Watchers.
Oh, so close. So close. Mine are Abigail, Aquaman, and the whatever. Night Swim and Tarot. So yes, we got Night Swim, Tarot, and all both.
I can't believe ISS didn't make it to
it's right above. So
it's fucking terrible.
5s and below hit this list. But there's a difference between ISS and like the Marvels for me. I didn't mind it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was fine. It was totally average. It was a 5, but also Abigail's a 5. But for very different reasons.
Abigail was the vampire kid.
Yeah, very boring I mean, not boring, but just not,
I kind of liked it, but I forgot about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it ranks pretty low if you don't even remember it.
Yeah.
That is it. Tarot, though, I think for both of us, and Night Swim.
Tarot was so bland.
Those both stand out as 2 of the worst movies.
Night
clearly.
Swim. I could definitely not sit through Night Swim again.
Oh my goodness, no.
No.
Not
Very
even
bad.
if it's on like Scream TV.
Very,
and you're
very
making
bad.
supper and you just turn on one of the crappy
I'd turn
movies.
it over to some. I'd watch an Italian whatever on the other side.
1970s.
Yeah.
Dubbed movie. Those are funny.
Yeah.
If people know what we're talking about, there are channels on streaming that are like Scream TV and what was another Shout TV and stuff like that. Screambox, where they just run these outrageously not, I don't know. I can't say not good. Because
it's just old horror movies.
Yeah, but a lot of them are Italian or Spanish.
Yep.
And they're dubbed really badly. And it's always women in negligee with also naked breasts often. And then there's vampires, werewolves, and whatnot, and ghosts. But you never really know what the story
I'm always sucked into them.
You are.
I'm like, I've got to know what happens to these 4 women.
Oh, of course you do. Now I understand.
Oh, hold on. She's going down the stone steps with a candelabra.
With her cape flowing in the wind.
Yeah. That's what happens in every single one.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good top of 10 in bottomless.
Yes. What's for dinner? Cidtalk.
Well, tonight we're going to be having some black bean quesadillas because that's the ingredients we have.
Delicious.
We're telling you this because we're vegetarian and people still have issues with us being vegetarian. It's the weirdest thing I've experienced in my life. Well, I'm going to put some meat in there for you and make it good. Seriously, I've had that comment. I'm like, what?
What's that voice, by the way?
That's the voice.
Barney Fife?
I just wanted to amp it up a little so it was more generic, but that's how I hear. You hear the reviewer's voice, I hear that.
Yeah.
Every time someone jokes, my food shits on your food. I mean, that's a real joke.
I've never even heard that joke. That's like the joke that the Joker would tell and nobody would laugh at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't laugh either. I just mock them in my mind.
Actually, come to think of it, the Joker, there's like this thing in this new Joker movie where they keep asking him to tell a joke.
Yes.
And for a movie that has jokes as a plot point, there isn't ever a moment where you laugh.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No.
Not that
Even when the warden guy tells a joke, you're just like, no, this is too depressing a room.
It's all
for
depressing.
Anybody to...
Yes.
All right, Cidtalk. Give us your advice, and then we'll get out of here.
It is that you can understand and accept another point of view, even if you don't, I shouldn't say understand. Maybe you don't understand it. This movie inspired me because a lot of people won't understand what the point of this movie was, and then they'll insult it, right? Only because it freaks people out when they don't understand something. And then people feel dumb a little bit, or they feel like they're out of a loop or something, like someone's trying to put one over on them. And then they insult it like it's bad because you don't understand it. But that's not accurate. So you can like watch something that's, I mean, I've watched movies, some of those on my list, even where I'm like, Poor Things even, like you're kind of like, I get some of the big themes, but also there's stuff buried in there that I don't fully understand the angst that they're trying to portray or the point of humanity, whatever it is. And yet I'm not going to insult it. I just want to figure it out, right? And it's not going to compromise my actual opinion of the movie just because some of it makes me feel a little bit like, oh, I don't get that. It doesn't make the movie bad. It just makes it like challenging, I guess is the word. So it's okay for you not to understand a thing and also see the quality in it.
That's good.
And that applies to all arts and all things and even people. If you think about it, you may not like everything about a person, but you can appreciate, superficially maybe how they are.
Well said, Cidtalk.
Not really. I don't accept that.
All right, ascully.com. That's the place you can go to get this podcast. You can go to Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. There are social medias. I'm A Scully, she's Cidtalk. You can also catch the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, anywhere that podcasts are available. Email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Cidtalk. She doesn't want your email ever, not even in 2025. And stay classy. Everybody, well, stay classy the Joker, let's say. And next week, Gladiator 2.
Whoa, risky, controversial. And I'm going to say, think for yourself or someone's going to do it for you. And also, happy early New Year.
Happy 2025, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.